Nscaler454 here. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are working on the front portion of section 2 and section 3. I've done quite a bit already. I've got my gap fillers in. I've plugged up all the big holes. I have the extra rail ties for when I put on my little switch stands. I have the switches taped off, so all that is ready for paint. But before I do that, I am going to install my Grizzly grate, as well as this track, which I already have the wires on. Same thing with this one. And then once that's done, I can go ahead and paint it. All right, we'll pop this up. The rail ties between here and here I need to cut out. That will allow me to get my Grizzly grate to go in. There we go. Where the Grizzly grate goes, I'm going to use some cement. I don't know if this is a good idea or not. I'll do half and half. Make sure that's all nice and flush down there. Oh, I can't do that. I can't do this. Oh no. I almost made a big mistake, guys. I realized I cannot glue down this track until I paint it. Otherwise, how am I going to paint that when the Grizzly grates are already down? So, it looks like paint is coming up next. We have the track all painted. I use Model Masters Rail Tie Brown Flat. It's a discontinued product, so good thing I have enough to do all my track. And now I have the fun of painting the rails, which I do by hand using a thin brush like that. I am using Tamiya's Red Brown, and I'm mixing it with just a little bit of this Model Air Rust. You can see the color that's coming out, and you can see that, but I think that looks pretty good. So we're going to stick with that and just go to town. But this is going to take a while. Now that the track is painted, I can go over the rail ties with a bunch of different colors using a dry brush technique. We have red, brown, brown, dark yellow 2, buff, some white, different shades of rust, and I can go over it randomly just to make it look like we have different aging in the wood, there's different colors in the wood, etc., etc. And even though it's not going to stand out all that much once you have it ballasted, if you get up close, you can see a difference, like in there. Well, I think that looks pretty good. Can you guys see the variation in the rail ties? I've made it so this siding over here has a little bit lighter rail tie just to make it look like it's been in the sun for years and years and years. So I think that looks pretty good. With everything painted, we can now glue down our Grizzly grate and track. So we'll pull it up and put some glue down. Mix of glue, because I don't really know which one's going to stick better. We'll use them both. I don't think it's going to matter all that much anyways. Drop you in. Again, we're going to put this on, make sure it's nice and straight. That's quite important, actually. Ooh, I can feel it sticking already. So I guess something's going right. Yeah, I like that. Okay. Pin it down. Couple pins right on the ends. I've slowly been working on the concrete pad in my paper mill area. This is 60 thou styrene, but this up here on the top and in the center, that's 40 thou styrene. It just gives a little bit extra clearance around the wheels for your freight cars and prevents any kind of interference problems. I've gone ahead and painted my chemical tanks. I've blasted it with a couple of coats of semi-gloss white. And you can see I designed a new pump station right there. See what it looks like up close. So I think that looks pretty neat. There's one for each tank, and I think that will look fantastic. I can now go ahead and pull all this stuff up so I can paint it. I'm not going to paint it while it's down because I don't want any paint on my rails or anything. So I'll pull this up, probably number it so it goes back in the exact spot that I want it. And I'm going to paint it with a latex natural gray number 5. That's going to be my primary coat, and I'll see if I can mix any other kind of colors in just to make it look like some real concrete, and also need to blend it with that. I'm also going to likely paint a little bit in this area for our pavement, and I'll have to go in and blend later, but that's not a big deal, but at least gets me to the point where I can lay all this down permanently. Squirt in some gray. Let's go to town on this, hey? Grab a second sponge, and we'll try to apply a little bit of a lighter color to this. Definitely on the blue side, but you know what? I need this to dry more. I noticed that the gray was a little bit shiny, so I went over it with a wash using white and a little bit of the pale blue gray and a lot of water, and hopefully that's going to dull it down a bit and also give me a little bit of texture. So far it's looking pretty good. We'll see what it looks like when it dries. The whitewash has definitely changed the look of our concrete. It looks a lot better, but I'm still not happy. I feel like our base coat is too dark. I think it needs to be brightened up to look more aged. So I went online and I saw a bunch of people use this Woodland Scenics concrete top coat, and the pictures looked wonderful, but in real life it is very much this cream color. I don't know if you can see that. I thought maybe it's just the way it looks in the bottle. Nope, it's very close to that, and I don't like it. So I'm going to go back to our natural gray number 5, and I'm going to mix it heavily with the white, and then I'm just going to see if I can add that to it. I might put a little bit of this pale blue gray in there. I don't know, but I'm going to keep working on trying to get this to look a little bit better. That is looking a lot better. We can definitely work with this. I really like the dark undertones, but the lighter color is bringing a lot of highlights and making it look a lot like it's aged and weathered. I was originally mixing this up, but I didn't like it. It had to be brighter, so that is the color we ended up going with. I used some makeup sponges and just gently dabbed it. That one's full of paint, and this one is more water just to kind of blend it. And I think the result is pretty good. Once we get it down, we can add some weathering and make it look even better. We can now reinstall our concrete pad. You can see I painted the pavement in this area here. I really like the texture that the foam gives. It's a little bit dark. I might have messed that up a little bit. I'll see if I can fix that. Maybe I can lighten it up a little bit, but who knows? Maybe in the next video we might do a whole feature on how to do the pavement using foam and some paint. So anyways, let's put this on. You can see I number coded everything, so I know where it all goes. So I'm not gluing the pieces down just yet because I want to do some weathering to it, and I want to be able to pull the pieces up, clean the track out thoroughly, and then I can go ahead and glue it down. For the weathering, I'm going to be using mainly these dry powders from Vallejo. This is Old Rust, and this is Carbon Black. We'll see how this goes. There's a chance I could muck it all up, you know. I feel like I'm going to need to go a little heavier. See, I'm kind of focusing the rust around where the track is. I can already see the color coming through. Let's introduce some black. Focus more on these crack areas. I'm finding I'm going to have to push a little harder with the black to get it to stick. Kind of jam it in there and really get some color in it. Because this is where the fluid transfer station goes, there's obviously going to be fluid spills, so I'm going to use some of this black wash to just simulate some of that. I'll let that dry completely and see how it turns out. I might have to add a little bit more. We'll see. But so far, I think it looks fantastic. I painted a yellow line on the concrete as a warning for keeping people away from where the tank car is going to park. I did have to notch a little bit of the styrene just so I could get my rail stops in there, but it all fits and it's looking good. I am liking how all the weathering turned out. I feel like this is the most realistic concrete I've done. So we can now go ahead and put on our tanks for our chemicals. Check out the weathering I did on those. What do you think of that? Again, I feel I went aggressive with the rust. Maybe too much, I don't know, but it sure stands out. I like it. Of course, we can put in our pump stations. Oh yeah, I am liking that. Often when you do a project on your layout, you think, I like it, but it could be a little bit better. But every once in a while, you come up with one you really are proud of. And this is definitely one of those for me. I am very happy the way this turned out. I like the tanks. I like the weathering on it. I really like the little pumps that I made. I think that works perfectly. I like the way the fluid transfer station is tying into the paper mill there. Our little pole barn hopper unloading center is working really good as well. Got some weathering on the concrete in there. I think that looks good. I am very, very happy about the look of this concrete. By far the best I've ever done, which to me, it's always been a very hard color and texture to get right, so that looks good. Got a little bit of work to do on that, but I do like the contrast. But overall, the whole scene is really starting to come together. And that is going to do it for this video, though. So if you liked it, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more videos, and as always, thanks for watching.